Hello everybody, today I'm going to be taking a look at Death and Taxes, a new troop for the Dominion by Goblin King Games for Moonstone. Okay, so Death and Taxes, as you can see, contains Jobie or Juby, depending, the tax collector, Portly Pete, and the cards required to play them in Moonstone. If I pop it open, it contains our round bases, a bag of resin, and 3 cards. So, have a quick look at these. Gingerly take them out. Portly Pete then, a 3-piece build. Tax collector and Juby. Juby is a single part, bit of flash on him. And tax collector is another 3-piece build. It's a wicked looking face. Right out of the bat, or right off the bat, got a little spoonerism there. A little bit of flash, and by a little bit of flash I mean a very little bit of flash. Yeah, very thin pieces. They should clean off when I'm giving them a quick wash. Can't see anything in the way of slippage or air bubbles. No miscast pieces. Nope. So they look very clean right now, but let's get them cleaned up, put together, and we'll take a look at them in closer detail. All right, I'm back and I have built the figures. We're going to start with Portly Pete. There is his card. As you would expect, the figure went together very quickly, very easily. You can see his little bum down there. So just really get the head on, get that leg on, and then just leave him to his own devices, leaning away on his halberd. I really love that, the crow-looking bit on him there. Detail is absolutely gorgeous. Big flat panels on the armour. So if you're just a metallic wash and dry brush, it will do the job. If you want to do non-metallics, there's oceans of material to work with there, particularly in and around his little padlocked belly. As far as goblins go, he is a tall one, around 28mm to eye level, or 46 to the top of that bird. So yes, cracking figure. As far as gameplay goes, all about the melee. Arcane and evade sitting at 0. He's got a 2-inch range. Great. He does have some special rules, so asleep on the job, the model may not be the first activation unless he's your last character. So there you go. However, when he does activate, he gets +1 melee stat and reduces his evade by -1 until the end of turn. So that's actually very good, especially for such a big fat goblin. I would expect his evade to go up. Hey ho. The halberd deals piercing and impact and increases its damage by 1. His ramshackle armor will reduce non-magical effects by -1, so always good to have a bit of armor in there. Team him up with Vicious and send him on his way. Let people try and deal with the armored goblin core. Secret Stash, one of his own little ability. The reason he has a padlock on his chest. If you're in possession of a Moonstone, an enemy model cannot lose it or cannot take it off you unless you're dead. So no sneaky grabbing, stealing or anything else. If a goblin in possession of a Moonstone within 4 inches and line of sight suffers damage, you can have the character take it instead once per turn. And obviously then the ramshackle armor will come into play there as well if it's non-magical. So potentially you could remove all damage. And stand to attention for 2 energy. A target goblin gains +1 energy, and if the target is a soldier, it will also move 2 inches. There we go, English. His signature move is crowd control, which is an upgrade for thrust, dealing a modicum of damage, not so much against the high guard or low guard. However, the end step, this attack deals nil damage against models that are further than 1 inch away, so they need to be in close. And in the end step, the enemy is within 1 inch. It's moved 1 inch directly away from the model, so you can push your opponent back. Very good if they have to be within 1 inch to attack you. You can use crowd control to push them away, forcing them to expend more energy to get back in again, or leaving them within range of your halberd as a follow-up on your own activation. So really nice little model. Next up we have the Tax Collector. Again, simple build, as we've seen, just the arms going on there. Now I have seen the one on the Goblin King Games website has the scroll higher and the hand lower down. You've got a bit of wiggle room. I like the fact that she's starting at the top and working her way down. Really nice cut of the cloth, really good sculpt, as you can see. A wicked chin, almost forming that Dominion crescent moon with their face. And again, some intricate detail around the legs with the lace above the breeches, that sort of thing. But a lot of vacant room for you to do your own work on. If you are planning on doing something on the scroll itself, you probably want to keep the arms separate. Do that painting to allow you access, because getting in from behind is going to be a little bit tricky. I had considered that, but I needed to build it for the unboxing, so I'll just have to live with that. The Tax Collector then, if we take a look. So, also melee of 3, range of 1 inch, Fate of -1 as standard, and Arcane of 0. Lot of interesting support abilities. So, Inheritance Tax, when a friendly goblin within 4 inches in line of sight is slain, you may place 1 moonstone the character was in possession of in base contact with this model at a depth of 1. And that's once per game. And that'll be very handy later on, as you will see. Friscal Stimulus. When the character is involved in a round of melee, it gains +X and reduces melee damage by X, where X is the number of moonstones the enemy character is in possession of. So, probably not a frontline ability, but when your opponent has got somebody loaded up with moonstones and is attempting to escape, getting the Tax Collector to interpose herself is a great way of doing it, because they will be at a disadvantage. Swift, when making reaction step, while engaged by an enemy, this model moves 2 instead of 1, once per turn. Again, handy to interpose yourself. And then 3 energy for the character and a couple of abilities. So Rebate will cost all 3 of those energy. Target character restores X+2 wounds or moves X+2 directly towards this character, where X is the number of moonstones the target has in their possession. So right off the bat, you can see how that would work with Portly Pete, who can carry moonstones and not have them robbed off him. Income Tax. For 0 energy, 8 inch range, once per turn, target enemy character in possession of at least 1 moonstone cannot make a job or step action or take reaction steps until the end of turn. So they have to pay energy equal to the number of moonstones they have. Again, it's a way of preventing your opponent from running off with those moonstones, lock them in place, steal the moonstones off them, or tie them up in combat where they're at a disadvantage. So really powerful for such a small little goblin. Their upgrade is on High Guard, which is pay up. As you can see, they will deal nil damage, but in the end step, if the character was not slain, it can take possession of up to 1 moonstone carried by the enemy. Again, the enemy must spend or may spend energy to cancel the effect, and if they do so, the model, as in the Tax Collector, will gain 1 energy. So they're left with the quandary: they either stop you from taking their moonstone by paying an energy, but if they do that, then you'll just attack again, and hopefully a similar outcome will resolve itself, so you can burn through their energy as well. Cracking little support character. Now, last but by no means least, Juby. Single piece, looking particularly nice with his cap and festooned with holes, shot or arrow, who knows. Bit ragged, a little bit rum. He's a geezer. He's falling over. He's got his big Jobie or Juby medallion on, depending on how you want to look at him. Obviously very Del Boy-esque. Sheepskin coat, turtleneck and a medallion. This time next year we'll be Moonstone millionaires. So yeah, cracking looking character, lot of expression in the face, and again his card obviously no longer a massive mystery, but the undead faction symbol lurking behind there. So melee 2, range 1, arcane 3 with a -1 on the evade, so not a great fighter, quite good on the old arcane. Bright Side of Death is his special rule. Immediately after models have been deployed, but before the turn, a friendly character with Reanimate gains Reanimate Juby for nil. Place him in base contact with the character and he's dead, and restore its health and gain +2 energy. You can only do that once per turn. However, great with the Mortician currently, and I imagine there'll be a lot more coming with that Reanimate rule that you'll be able to team Juby up with. He has a cunning plan. A model may place a Moonstone in its possession within 2 inches at depth 1, and then it's immediately slain. So you can shunt or pass Moonstones back. So get it, move back, kill yourself, but push the Moonstone another 2 inches and 1 down, allowing somebody else to pick it up then. For 3 energy, that's mine, this is mine. The model gains possession of 1 Moonstone that's in base contact with, regardless of the depth or enemy engagements. Fantastic. I mean, all about picking up the Moonstones and getting them back to where they need to go. He does have a second-hand pistol, 6-inch range, costs 2. However, it will take impact damage as well as the target does without rolling or without turning your catastrophe. And if you are slain, then the character loses possession of the Moonstone they're carrying. Place it in base contact with the target at depth value 1. Blah. His upgrade, his signature move is Play Dead. So on a low guard, you can deal no damage to your opponent. However, in the end step, enemy characters cannot target this model with actions until the next time you perform an action or the end of turn, whatever comes first. So even when he's not dead, he can play dead and thus hamper your opponent's ability to get Moonstone and the like off him. Really interesting little trio. Some great synergies and interesting support abilities that will tie in well with other Old Dominion models already. It'll be fascinating to see how these start turning up in games. And there we have it. A terrific trio in this troop. Really good support characters, really interesting synergies that they're going to start adding to the Dominion as well. I quite like the fact that Portly Pete, who may or may not be portly, he says he's buff underneath that and we can't be certain. I like how he retains a Moonstone. He can't have it stolen off him. There's a few characters out there who are very nimble and very good at stealing things away. So the fact that he can safely hold on to one is great. Jobie, obviously the upcoming undead faction, whenever that lands, be it this year or next, that's going to be really interesting to see how they play within the world of Moonstone. And if any other characters are going to segue in there, there's a few in the La Chevalte who could almost be undead already. So there's a Revenant and bits and pieces kicking around. Will they make the transition, or will they be sort of entirely new and leave those where they are? But yeah, for the time being, these three as support characters for your Dominion add so much. There's some really interesting combinations and synergies within the box themselves, and then obviously with the likes of the Mortician and the greater Dominion faction. There's a lot that can be done there, and once again the sculpts are absolutely stunning. But let me know what you think below of Death and Taxes. Is it the one for you, or will you be avoiding taxes like the plague? Until next time, bye bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now, and while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.